All right, why don't we get rolling? I think I know everyone, but in case somebody's hiding out there that I don't see, I'm Kopic. I'm the head coach for Joel Barlow, Girls Lacrosse. Thanks for joining. Just want to say up front, I don't know if you can see, probably up at the top, I just hit the record button so we can record this thing for anyone who wasn't able to join us tonight. So just want to let you know. We've are excited to do this. We've been thinking about this for a while. We've certainly had some recruited athletes in the past from Joel Barlow, but right now we've got a couple of highly recruited D1 athletes that are going to join us to talk tonight, and the others are going to give us a little bit of an overview of the recruiting process to help give you an overview of what to expect if you're thinking about playing lacrosse in college. So with us today, the two athletes that I mentioned, we have Holly Young, who's a junior, who is going to play at Lehigh University. We also have Bella Michelli, a senior, who is going to play at St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia. So they represent the player part of our panel. Representing a coach/parent is Joe Michelli, who's been coaching with the varsity for several years. Bella's father as well, that can help give a little bit of a parent insight. And finally, Melissa Rotante, one of our other assistant coaches, who not only is our coach, but played for Stony Brook University as well in her lacrosse career. So we wanted, the combination of those four are going to give you a little bit of an overview. We ask that you please hold any questions till the end, and then feel free to ask questions, unmute yourself, obviously, and chime in. Or if you're not comfortable with that, you can use the chat that I will be monitoring. And we want to make sure that at the end of this time that most of your questions are answered. I'm sure not all of them, but we certainly plan to follow up with more detail in terms of some of the things that these guys are going to talk about. So with that, let me turn it over to Melissa.
Hi guys. I am so excited to finally be able to, have a format to be able to talk to you guys about recruiting and the opportunities to play in college. So it's really cool to see a lot of you guys here that have some interest. So I have a little PowerPoint, so I'm just going to share my screen with you guys. It's very short, just to try to give you guys kind of a little bit of a little overview of the recruiting process. So let me just get that set up for you guys. Okay. So recruiting 101. So you guys know I played at Stony Brook, which is a Division I program. I graduated in 2013, so it's been some time since I played. But my recruiting process and my experience there is still like super relevant for you guys. Recruiting has changed, but it's still also very similar in many ways. So I think that the most helpful place to start would be talking about the levels of college athletics. So the NCAA is the governing body of college athletics. And so underneath that, there's three levels that you can play at. There's Division I, Division II, and Division III. So Division I being like the highest level of college lacrosse, okay? So typically, those are big schools with big athletic budgets, and they give the largest number of athletic scholarships. Okay, so currently there's 117 Division I women's lacrosse programs. And so Bella is going to St. Joseph's, which is a Division I program, and Ashley's going to Lehigh, which is a Division I program. And so, typically players that, that are recruited to those schools are top talent pool. So they're high level lacrosse players and also really strong academics. So you have to have both. You got to focus on, being a student athlete. Student is first and foremost. So then there's the Division II level, which is an intermediate level of lacrosse. It's still high level. It's for those students that are interested in maybe going to a school that's not as big. So something that's more of a medium-sized school with still a competitive level of lacrosse. At that level, there are athletic scholarships that you can get. There's a little bit less, but there still are athletic scholarships that can be earned for lacrosse. So let me just make sure I'm just looking at my notes really quick, make sure I'm covering everything. So at the Division II level, there's 114 schools that offer Division II lacrosse. And those schools consist of places like Bentley University, Rollins College, Pace University. We have Sarah Witherby that currently plays at Pace. So that's at the Division II level. And then we'll go down to the Division III level. So Division III is considered like the lowest level, I guess, but it's still highly competitive. Okay. I would say that the Division III level is different than the other two because there's a little bit less of a commitment. So there's more of kind of like a balance between like life, college life, and college life, being an athlete and a student. So there are, but the biggest distinction with Division III is that there are no athletic scholarships offered at the Division III level. So that's something that, you want to pay attention to if that's something that your family, you and your family, one of your goals is to try to, get an athletic scholarship. They're not offered at the Division III level. And then so at the Division III level, it's also more of a relaxed recruiting process. It's not as, they don't have to follow as strict of rules and restrictions as the Division I and then Division II. I won't necessarily get into all the nuances of that because there's a lot of info on the internet that you can kind of look up to see the differences. But if you have questions about it at the end, I can try to go over it. And then so outside of the NCAA, I mean, there's also the opportunity to play club and intramural sports. So typically what that looks like is, say you decide you want to go to a big school like UConn, for example, but you're not really interested in playing at the Division I level. It's just not for you, but you want to go to a big school. So once you get there, say you get in, you decide you're on campus, it's your freshman year, and you really want to still play lacrosse. You can be on it, you can join a club team. Sometimes they offer tryouts, and maybe there's a fee to play. But it's fun, right? It's fun. It's recreational. You can still have lacrosse in your life and, focus on your academics. So there's lots of opportunity. I'm not sure if I said this, but at the Division III level, there's 293 schools at the Division III level. So there's a lot of opportunity to play lacrosse in college. It's just trying to find out what is the right level for you as an individual student athlete. So I hope that was helpful. We'll go on to the next thing. So what are college coaches looking for? This is a question that I hear all the time. So I've tried to break it up into like 4 categories. So college coaches are looking for technical skills, right? So that's your lacrosse skills, your stick skills. Can you catch and throw? What's your shooting form like? If you're a defender, like, do you make body contact? Can you break down your feet? Can you, without fouling? And your athleticism. Are you fast? Are you in shape? Are you fit? Right? Are you strong? So they're looking at those technical skills first and foremost. And secondly, they're looking at your lacrosse IQ. So your decision-making on the field, your ability to see the field when maybe you have the ball on your stick, you're running down the field. Do you just have a narrow vision and see what's in front of you? Or can you see the whole field? Can you see your options and make quick decisions? With lacrosse IQ, if you're a defender and you're trying to clear the ball, and you see a triple team coming at you, are you running through that triple team, or are you seeing it coming at you and making the decision to turn around, hit your trail, and then telling your teammates to swing the ball? Those are things that college coaches are assessing, how you're making decisions on the field. And then thirdly, which I think is a huge one, and Bella and Ashley can really talk about this too, is your attitude. Are you a hard worker? Are you coachable? Right? Is your coach, if you're watching you and your coach is giving you instructions, are you listening and following, what your coach is telling you to do? Are you giving 100% effort, or are you kind of like half going partial effort, kind of half-assing it? Right? And they're also looking at how you respond to mistakes. We all make mistakes, right? Like that's part of the game. You're going to drop the ball, you're going to make a bad pass, and coaches are looking at how you respond from that mistake. Are you taking say you throw the ball out of bounds, are you taking your stick and slamming it on the ground? Or are you working really hard and trying to get that ball back, riding really hard to the restraining line, working to get that ball back, doing everything you can? Those are things that that college coaches are looking at. And then teammate, right? So college coaches want to see that you're a good person, you're a good teammate, you're out there, you're cheering on your team, you're being supportive, you're giving your goalie a high five, being just happy and celebrating your team's success, right? You might be having a really bad game. Maybe you're out there and you're shooting and you keep hitting the post, or you hitting, you're going right over the goal. Like, are you putting your head down and walking back to the line, or are you celebrating your team's success? Okay. So those are kind of the 4 main points, I think, that you really want to focus on, and they're all in your control. right? All 4 of these things you can control. You can work on your stick skills. You can get better and learn the game. You can study the game and increase your lacrosse IQ. You're in full control of the effort that you bring and the attitude that you have, and then the kind of teammate that you are. And then the next question that I hear all the time is, how do I get recruited? So the first thing that you want to do, if you have decided, right, you're passionate about lacrosse, you love the game, you're thinking you might want to play in college, either at the Division 3, Division 2, Division 1, it doesn't matter. You have to be on a club team is the first place to start. And so we happen to be in a really great area where there's a lot of great club lacrosse teams. Bella played on Sound Lacrosse, which is out of Greenwich, and I also coach there now. And then Ashley played on Gold Coast, which is, I think, Ashley, it's out of, I think, Wilton, right? Wilton and Norwalk?
New Canaan.
New Canaan. Whoops. Okay. They're out of New Canaan. And then there's Nor'easter, which is more north of here. And we have a lot of athletes that play on Nor'easter too. So there's a lot of opportunity to play on a club team in our area. It requires you to try out for a team. Tryouts are normally held in the summer. And we normally will send emails to you guys letting you know when those tryouts are going to be. And then what happens is once you're on those club teams, you get exposed to a lot of tournament play. And that's where the college coaches are. College coaches spend their entire summer sitting on sidelines at club tournaments, watching kids play. And so the more that you can get in front of coaches, the more likely you're going to get recruited. And it's fun. It's really, really fun. It's an awesome time. Both Bella and Ashley can kind of speak to that at the end if you have questions about what club looks like and all that kinds of stuff. But that is really the place you want to start if you want to play in college. So I kind of talked about the recruiting camps and showcases. You really want to just try to get in front of those coaches. And then the third thing is attending college camps. So maybe there's a specific college that you're interested in. Say, you want to go to St. Joseph's like Bella did, right? She decided she wanted to go there. That was a school on her list. She was really interested in them. And so she attended their college camp, right? She was able to get in front of the coach there and be immersed in her drills and be with the players. So not only do you get a feel for what the coach's style is, the coach gets a feel for you as a player. She gets to coach you and gets to see kind of who you are and how you play, how you interact. And then that's an opportunity for them to recruit you right then and there. So I think college camps can be really, really great in conjunction with the club team play. Then the fourth thing is creating a highlight film. Both Ashley and Bella both created a highlight film, so they can really speak to that. And we'll probably share, if you have questions about highlight film, we can share theirs with you so you can get some ideas of what it should look like. It's normally pretty short. You obviously are including some really good highlights of yourself playing, some good clips. College coaches also want to see making mistakes on those videos as well, because they want to see how you respond from that kinds of stuff. They want to see your versatility. They don't want to just see you scoring goals, right? That's not helpful. They want to see, you doing all different things all across the field and your marketable skills. So that's the highlight stuff. And then the fifth thing is emailing coaches. So I know Bella and Ashley can also speak to this. They had a lot of contact via email with college coaches. So when you're on a club team, say your sophomore year, you're going to go to a tournament, and what you do is you have a list of the schools that you're interested in. You create a list. Normally you want to start with a pretty long one. And you send out a very kind of like basic email to each coach individually of just a little short blurb about who you are, that you're interested in their program. You play on, just for example, on Gold Coast, you're on this team, you're this number, and here's your schedule for the upcoming tournament. So that coach can, if they have a chance, they can stop by and check you out. So that's a really good thing to start practicing, because the more persistent that you are, you want to get your emails into their inbox so they add you to their list of potential kids that they will recruit. Hopefully I covered everything on the emails, and we can also share templates of what those emails should look like. Bella has one that she can share. She shared it with other players on our team before. And I'm also more than happy to help people curate those emails. Just make sure, so you're covering all your bases and giving them the right info. You don't want them to be very long. You want them to be short and sweet with just like kind of the info that they need about you. And then the last thing, which is really, really important, is focusing on your academics, right? So being a student athlete, like I said before, student comes first. And the better that you do in school, the better that you do academically, the more options you're going to have in terms of recruiting, right? Like, yes, some coaches have pull in terms of admissions, being able to help get kids in, but you got to be the top of the top for them to do that. So my suggestion is really focus on your academics, study really hard, and do the best that you can, because that just makes you, have more opportunity to play the next level. So that's my piece. I can certainly talk about my experience playing at the Division I level. It was the best experience of my life to this day. I'm almost 30 years old, and I just miss it. I talk to my teammates all the time, and we just reminisce about how awesome it was, and wishing that we could go back. The 4 years goes by so fast, and it's just a really special thing to be able to play in college. There's nothing like it. And so I'm going to turn it over now because I've done enough talking. And I'm going to let Bella talk a little bit about her experience getting recruited, like pre-COVID. She got recruited in 2019, right, Bella? 2019 going to 2020. So I'm going to turn it over and let her kind of share her experience with you guys.
Okay, so if coaches can reach out to you starting September 1st of your junior year, but it's important to know that that's not when the recruiting process starts. So the coaches can't talk to you, but you can talk to them. So it's important, like Melissa said, to be on a club team. And then emails are really important to let the coach know that you're interested. So when I was interested in a school, I would normally send an email, and the email would cover most of the basics about me, like my school, my club team, position, and your graduating year. That's like a main thing that they want to see. That should be on like the subject of your email. Try not to put like the grade, like I wouldn't say I'm a senior, especially when you're emailing in the summer, because it gets confusing. So it's easiest for them to know your graduating year. And then in the first emails that I would send, I would have all of that stuff, along with I had some stats and some awards that I had won. And I also mentioned that I played field hockey. And then another important thing is to have not only your contact information, so your phone numbers, emails, that stuff, but to have your coaches, so your club coach and your high school's coach. And then after like that first introduction email, my emails would be really short, and they would just be saying like, I'll be attending this tournament this weekend, and like, here's my schedule. I'd love if you could take the time to come see me play, and stuff like that. And then, so that's kind of covers the emails. And then obviously, like Melissa said, playing on a club, and that's how you're going to get noticed by a lot of these coaches. And then camps. So Melissa had mentioned that I went to the St. Joe's camp, knowing that they were probably one of my top ones. I wanted to get in front of the coaches, not like in a tournament, and to see how I wanted to see the school and how the coaches coached, because it's important to know that like you like the coaching style, because you don't want to go to a school and then not like the coaches. And it's a little more personal, so they can get to know you more, because the one I did a sleepover one, so I was there for 3 days. So I had 3 days to get in front of the coaches playing, and then you also do like fun activities and stuff for the coaches to like kind of see who you are as a person, because that's really important when they're trying to recruit you, to make sure that you'll fit in with the team, not just that you'll be a good player on the field. And then, so once coaches could reach out to me, was September 1st. So I started to hear from some coaches, and it's kind of frustrating. I'm not gonna lie, it's stressful. You have to stay on top of the emails, like when you want to respond, like as soon as you possibly can. And then the coaches will normally, when they first reach out to you, they'll say that they're interested, and then normally they want to schedule a phone call with you. And going into the phone calls, it's important that you know stuff about the school, because the coaches are going to ask you questions. They're going to ask what you're interested in the school, what you want in a program, and stuff like that. And you should also have questions that you want to ask them to make sure that the school is a fit and to show that you're really interested. And then normally after the phone call, they could ask you to come to their camps because they want to see you play again. They could ask you to come visit the school. And in some cases I would talk to a coach and they'd say, you're at the top of our list and whatever. And then I kind of wouldn't hear from them for a while. And then like St. Joe specifically, like they showed all this interest and then I didn't hear from them for a few weeks, and then they came back and they made me an offer. So it's just important to know that like just because they're not answering right away doesn't mean that they're not interested anymore. They're also dealing with other kids, they're dealing with their team, their lives. So I know that part was a little frustrating for me, was like waiting to hear and like, but it will all work out. And then also when I talked about the camps, so when you're going to the camps and showcases and that stuff, you want, Melissa said, the attitude. The coaches are looking for that stuff because that's not stuff that they can coach. They can fix your skill, they can fix all of that stuff, but they can't fix your attitude. So it's important to have eye contact, listen, ask questions. When they fix something that you're doing, go out there and try and do what they said. And then when you'll see, like if you're playing a club team and whatever, you'll see the players on your team committing and you'll see other players committing, but everyone's recruiting process is completely different. Every coach is different. The way that they handle it is different. So it's important to like not let that get into your head, like seeing your friends commit and then knowing that you're not committed yet. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get committed. It just means that the coaches are dealing with it differently. And there's also no timeline on it. Like you don't have to, if a school reaches out to you, you don't have to commit right away. It's explore your options. They want you to want to go there. And they want it to be a good fit for you. So, and that's where like you might be interested, like one school might reach out to you and they're really good at lacrosse and you're really interested in their lacrosse, but then you look into the school and you don't, like maybe they don't have what you need academically, or you don't like the location and stuff. And it's important to not let lacrosse be the deciding factor. I know something that was said to me a lot when I was going through it was, if something happened and you couldn't play lacrosse there anymore, can you still see yourself there? And knowing that you'll still be happy there even without the lacrosse aspect. I think that's kind of it. I don't know.
That's perfect, Bella. You did a great job. Perfect. Thanks for covering all of that. That was excellent. All right, Ashley, we're going to turn it over to you. So Ashley had a very, unique recruiting process because it happened during COVID-19. So Ashley's going to talk a little bit about that. We obviously can't predict what this summer is going to look like for anyone that is on a club team that's going to be going to tournaments or hoping to go to tournaments. So Ashley can kind of shed light on what her experience was like.
I think Bella did a great job of explaining a lot about the process and the attitude. But one thing I would add is, even though it was like my recruiting process happened during a pandemic, I still had a bunch of practices and things, and it was important, or it is important, to show up to all your club practices with a good attitude, ready to go. Like even though they're just your club coaches, they want to see you pick up the balls, be a good teammate, because if you like show your energy at club, your recruiting coordinator will work for you. And I think you have to help them help you, give them something to sell the college coaches on. But aside from that, I can see most of you are freshmen and sophomores. So one thing that I did when I was a sophomore was I created a list of schools all different categories, academically and athletically, start off with a big list. It'll dwindle down pretty quick. But all the schools' websites, you go to athletics, you go to girls lacrosse, and then they have a recruiting profile that you fill out. It'll have you put in your name, graduating year, like height, weight, GPA, anything you're interested in, hobbies. And once you submit that, all the coaches will get a notification. And then you can start your emails and say, hi, I just filled out the profile, my name, my club, all that. Oh, and one more thing. NCAA has you need to be eligible in order to play in college. You have different levels depending on what division you want to play for. So it's important to start looking freshman year so you can get all the core classes and stuff. Because I know that was one thing I had it all figured out, like just by chance, but I figured that out sophomore year and I was like, oh my goodness, do I have all the classes? So
Tell us about your experience over the summer. Like, what was that? How was it different than Bella's, really? Did you go to tournaments? Did you not go to tournaments?
I had one tournament before everything was shut down, and then we just had little games here and there, and it was mostly just to get film. It's important to just play your best because no college coaches were watching. It was just no fans were allowed to come. It was just the two teams. So we got a lot of film, made a lot of highlight videos, and sent as many out as we could.
21 White Birch Ridge.
All right, so now we're gonna, Joe, are you good right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna have Coach Joe talk about his, experience and perspective watching Bella kind of go through the recruiting process. So from the parent perspective and what that was like for him.
Yeah. First, Ashley and Bella knocked it out of the park. That was great perspective from the athlete side. So that was awesome. The one thing I can impress the most is it really is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And many of you have been playing club lacrosse for a bunch of years now. Some of you want to get started in club lacrosse. So it starts from the youngest age, how you're forming as an athlete and everything else. But, as you come into the high school program, you're going to see a lot of stuff. And it's really just taking it all in. You get out of this what you put into it. So nothing's going to be handed to you. Like Coach said, the academics is going to be number one. Most of the lacrosse schools, to be honest with you, are very good academic institutions. Lehigh, St. Joe, those are great academic schools. You're not getting in there with low grades. I don't care how good of a lacrosse player you are. So it shows a commitment to your work ethic in the classroom just as much as it does on the field. Little things like carrying your own bag and equipment off the field, off of your tournaments when it's 95 degrees and not your parents carrying it for you. Little things like that. And the coaches are scouting parents a little bit too. Don't be the crazy parent on the sideline that's yelling at referees at a summer tournament or trying to coach your kid. Sit back and enjoy it. Watch your child play the sport they love and get after it. But don't ruin it for your kid by being over the top, being overbearing, because that is a reality. They're watching. They'll have some interactions with you here and there. I know one of the camps I spoke a little bit with the coach just because a string broke on Bella's stick at break, and she was asking me to help it, and the coach came up and said hello. So they're looking, they're watching, they're looking for a fit for their family. One thing I noticed, Bella was a little more fortunate than Ashley in regards of having more of a traditional recruiting experience and going to different schools because they were allowed to, not for any other reason than they were allowed to go. Bella was allowed to go to college campuses and visit and see, locker rooms and all the little things that in COVID you cannot. So they're looking for someone that fits in their tight little family. I think these coaches all view their programs as, their family and, their family unit. So they want a good fit. And I think that's important. The process can be really frustrating. Watching your athlete go through that. Like Bella said, someone comes in hot and heavy. Oh, we love you, we want you. And then, a couple weeks goes by and there's not even a text message. They're going to, 4 different fall tournaments and they're recruiting however many other athletes at the same time. You're not the only lacrosse player on the planet. So it is a process, and it is far more of a marathon than it is a sprint. It's, you know, and it's stressful. You're going to have some, moments. You're going to have some discussions about, you know, it's going to wear on them. You know, with when am I going to get picked up? When am I going to commit? This is crazy. Why is this happening? I can't believe this one committed. One, you're all in it together. You know, your teammates, your coaches, whether it's us as your Barlow coaches or your club coaches, you're not on an island. Don't feel like you hadn't committed yet or whatever. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You've all worked your tails off to get to where you are. So we're all in it together, and everybody takes pride in the successes that, you know, you all have as an athlete. So you really want to lean on your support networks, I think, because, you know, like I used to tell Bella all the time, it's good to be wanted. Yeah, it's stressful, but you're going to go into your senior year and you're going to be on cruise control. You're going to know, you know, you're done. When your friends are sending out 20 college applications and everything else, you front loaded your work. So you put your time in advance, and you earned everything that you're afforded. And so, yeah, you're going to have some stressful times, and it's going to be a little bit front loaded for you, but don't always think about, you know, the tougher parts or whatever. Think about the reward that comes in the end. And really, it's important to just enjoy the ride, you know, both as go look at the schools, talk to the coaches. You know, Bella went through Campbell University for a visit down in North Carolina, a school I'd never heard of. And it was really cool. We went down there, we saw a place we'd never even heard of. I spent a lot of time with the coaches, picking their brains. So, you know, as a parent, you get a lot out of it too. So, you know, enjoy the process, you know, get as much guidance and help as you can going through the process. And really it's pretty special. You know, Coach Melissa listed all the different, you know, only 7% of athletes go on to play college athletics at any level. So, you know, everybody here that's in this room has the ability, the talent, the drive. There's a home for every one of you on this that are here taking the time to be on this call right now. Whatever that is, whatever that looks like, doesn't matter. You know, 7%. So, you know, take your time, enjoy it, find your fit, have a plan. No, you know, if you want to be an engineer, you know, look at schools that have good engineering programs. Don't just look at a school that sounds awesome, but it's a liberal arts school that you're not going to get your engineering education at. So really start to consider now, especially some of you that are freshmen, sophomores, whatever, what interests you academically, because the other part of this is some of it's a money grab and some of it's a rat race. You will get, I can't tell you how many invitations to showcases, to school camps at Division 1, 2, 3 levels, all these different things. You know, talk to your club director. You know, I remember Bella's, I want to go to UNC and I want to go to USC and Boston College. Well, club director's like, yeah, we can email them, but why don't we focus on this group of schools that are probably more appropriate where you have a legitimate chance, because it's expensive. You know, just because you're going to their camp, you're still paying. You know, these are $150, $200, $500, $600 to go to some of these overnight camps. It adds up. So unless you have an unlimited budget, you know, really start to triage and start to think now before you even get to that phase of what interests you, so you can concentrate and focus your efforts so that you can, you know, not waste your time, not waste the coach's time, and not waste your money, and really kind of target and drill down where you want to be, and go get after it. Set your goals and go get it. That's the best advice I can give you, you know. So that's about all I have from parental perspective.
That was
I
great.
unfortunately I have to run out on the call right now for work, but
We'll be safe.
I'll try to jump back in if I get back in time. If I don't see you, by all means, anybody, if you have any questions from me, from my perspective, email, call, whatever, text me, DM me, whatever, just reach out. I'm happy to help in any way I can. Appreciate you all being here and working hard. So hope to see you all soon. Go Barlow.
Bye, be safe.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
I have one more thing to add, just to show how important the academic part is. When coaches will reach out to you and they're really interested in you, they'll ask you for your transcript and they'll send it through admissions to make sure that you're admittable. So it's like important to know that you have to be able to get into the school. And that's how they won't make you an offer until they know that you can get in, just to emphasize how important it is to work on your grades and not just think that, oh, I'm good at lacrosse, it'll get me in wherever I want.
Great advice. Great advice. All right, guys, we just gave you a ton of information. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open it up for discussion. You can ask a specific person a question. You can ask a general question and we can try to answer it for you. You can unmute yourself and ask, or you can just write it in the chat box if you don't want to talk. But we are here to answer any and all questions that you have, and we'll do our best to give you the right answer.
How early would be like the best time to like start going to actually like starting class?
Okay, so like in terms of, are you saying camps, starting to go to camps? Okay, so I would say, like, if you have like you want to start off by making a realistic like list for yourself, like what level are you interested in? And then you want to start looking at the schools, right? So like Coach Joe was saying before, you want to start looking at the schools that offer you, the most academically, right? First, like figuring out what it is you want to study, starting to narrow down your list. And then maybe you have like a pretty long list. And then you want to start figuring out when those camps are. So that's going to require some research, a lot of research component for you. I would say that you can start going to camps as early as this summer. Like the more that you can get in front of coaches, the better. Does that make sense? Does that help you, Daniela?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
But like Joe said, right? Camps are expensive. So this is a family decision. You're going to sit down, you're going to talk it out. You're going to you're going to work with your family, have that research. How much does the camp cost? And we can also, as coaches, help you with that decision. So if it's a camp that's going to cost you $1,000, we might want to wait for next year. I mean, it's, like I'll work with you and help you kind of create that decision. Okay.
Yeah, we can, as Melissa's saying, we can help give you guidance as well. I mean, for the older players, we've seen them play more, but even for somebody like you, Danielle, or anybody else, we have some idea where your talents are and, can help guide you, Division I, Division II, Division III, or this school or that school. I mean, even within Division I, there are top tier Division I schools and kind of in the middle of the pack, and then, towards the bottom of Division I. And there's nothing wrong with those schools if that's where you want to target, and we think that's where you're going to fit in. But if you come to us and say, hey, I got a flyer for this camp for blah, blah, blah school, we can try and give you a sense of, yeah, that's a good idea. Think about it. Obviously, you and your parents have to decide the financial part, but we can help give you a fit and some reaction in terms of the appropriate levels.
Yep.
Also, to add on to that, I think I don't think it's ever too early to start going to camps, but summer going into your junior year is definitely the most important time to go to those camps, because those coaches are going to be able to talk to you soon. So that's like you're fresh in their mind if they're seeing you that summer. And it's also showing more interest too.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I'll also add, we talked about, sorry to interrupt, from an academic point of view, I don't know what they're doing now with COVID. They're probably doing them all on Zoom, but if schools are visiting Barlow, what they used to do pre-COVID, if schools are visiting Barlow and you're interested in going to that school, go, because they keep track of who shows up to those things, when they're, coaches looking to say, oh, is, Ashley really interested in the school, and they look and see, well, she attended everything that happened at Barlow. They do look at that stuff. So as much interest as you can express in a particular school, I mean, coaches do pay attention.
Go ahead, Ash, you were going to say something.
I just wanted to say that everything we're telling you right now obviously seems like a huge mountain of things to do and things to accomplish, because I got it dumped on me a year and a half ago. So one thing that'll really help you organize who you're emailing, what the school is like, what kind of camps. I used a site called GLAX, and it had everything in the site, all the coaches' emails, all their camp dates, all the information about their school, athletically, academically, even percentage of male to female. It went really in depth. And it really allowed me to have all my stuff in one spot and keep it organized, stay on top of it. And then also club lacrosse and high school lacrosse is so fun. It's what I look forward to. So even though it seems like a lot, really just have fun with it, because high school lacrosse is just so fun.
I love that. Thanks, Ash. That's really good advice. Is GLAX free, Ashley? Did you have to pay for that?
my club, it was included in the club
In the club
package.
fee.
I know you can take out an individual subscription as well.
So that's the other component. That's the other thing we didn't really talk about this, but that's the other thing that clubs offer, right? Is a lot of specialized recruiting support, right? Like the club directors have connections with tons of different college coaches, and they will offer you something just like this, like a recruiting 101, and it's constant support. They're there for you. They're helping you get through this process. They want to get you recruited, right? Like they want to put your name on their website saying, Daniela committed to blah, 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 right? They want that. That makes their program more credible. So they're going to do everything possible to help you get recruited.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
So like me and Savannah have already got our Connect GLAX profiles set up and highlight videos and pretty much a list of schools. So would now be a good time to send emails, or should we wait, or like when would be a good time to do that?
So, Bella or Ashley, you want to answer this question? Because I have a different take on it. I might have a different take. Let's see. What do you guys think?
I know we have said it's never too early, but you guys are freshmen, right?
Yeah.
I would say maybe wait until your sophomore year because they're focusing on the year above you and you might just get lost in the shuffle right now.
Okay, that sounds good.
Bella, would you agree with that?
Yeah, but also since you guys play on a club team, right?
They're at Gold Coast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So like tournaments you go to, obviously there's nothing right now, but starting like in the summer, you can email those coaches before the tournament and say, this is my schedule, I'll be at this tournament, just because then you're on their radar. So whether they're probably not gonna come watch necessarily, just because they're probably trying to focus on the grade that they're gonna commit starting in that fall. But you'll be on their radar, so you'll get emails about camps and prospect days and that stuff, and just so that like they'll know your name kind of, and then when it is and just keep emailing, and then when it is time for them to come watch you, you'll probably be towards the top of their list, knowing that you guys are really interested.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So I would say wait until the summer, you guys. Wait until you have your club, like the week before you're going to go to your tournament. Short and sweet, nothing long. Okay.
All right.
And give them notice, like do it like a week or so before, just so that they can like plan it out to come see you.
Plus you'll have all your highlights from the high school season.
Yes. Any other questions anybody's got for us?
Can I just add the nagging mom point on one thing that hasn't been mentioned? These coaches look at your social media presence. So please, please, please don't post anything stupid. It's all too often, it's really tempting to put your high school parties and everything you're doing. It's gonna bite you in the end. So the advice Ashley got was nothing too political or opinionated or too strong or anything else. And no parties. Don't post anything about any of that. So if you want to post your breakfast or your workout routine or whatever, that's great. She created a new Instagram page for just her lacrosse workouts. And I think part of this COVID stuff actually, I think has permanently changed some aspects of recruiting. Not all of them. I think the camps and everything else are going to come back, no doubt. But I do think a lot of the digital presence is here to stay. So sending things like your Twitter or Instagram page that's devoted to lacrosse, I think is a really good idea. I know Bella also posted a lot of good highlights on her pages. And then you can just constantly just push the link, and then that way you're updating everything and people see it later. But again, just be careful what teenage things you post, because you may not think it seems like a big deal or a big problem, and college coaches sometimes view those as a red flag. So
that's great advice. Thank you so much for that, because it's so true. And those lacrosse profiles, I mean, that was a newer thing this summer that I've seen from a lot of athletes. And I think it's really cool. And you can see like there's tons of college coaches that are following you guys, following kids. So you want to be really cognizant about what you're posting.
Yeah, that's great advice. And it's not just the lacrosse coaches, it's the admissions people as well. So I love that advice. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good advice all around, no matter what, if you're going to play in college or not.
I have a question because I'm getting like marketing calls up the wazoo from a NCSA. Has anyone used them? Is it worth it? Or if like we have GLAX and the club connections, should we just ignore the NCSA people, delete the voicemails?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted
Agreed.
to double check.
Yeah, you don't need that. It's a money grab.
And for anybody who doesn't have GLAX accounts through their club, it may actually be worth paying for it. It's a fabulous tool. And it also gives you read receipts before you can have contact with the coaches. You can see that they've opened your emails, and that's the only contact you can have before September 1st of your junior year. So it's helpful to know if they're opening you right away or not. You know kind of whether you should leave them a little bit alone or keep going faster. But there are a million tools that they offer, so it might be worth paying for if you don't get it for, with your club.
It's great. All right. Any last questions? Okay. I mean, I think, the last thing that I just want to say is this is 100% athlete driven, right? Like, I mean, if you want to play, it starts with passion for this sport. Like, you got to really love this if you want to play at the next level. Like Bella and Ashley said, like this required a lot of them over the last several years. It's a big commitment, but it's a really great experience playing at the next level. I mean, I can't tell you enough how meaningful it was to me. And I truly believe that each and every one of you can find a home at the next level if you want, but you got to want it, right? You've got to really want to do it. And we're here to support you. You've got a lot of people here in this program that have a wealth of knowledge that will be happy to work with you one-on-one, give you advice, help you read emails, write emails, help you create highlight videos, give you feedback. We're here and ready to support you guys. So just reach out to us because it is athlete driven, right? Like, I'm not going to be individually reaching out to you and asking you how your emails are going. You need to reach out to us and let us know that you want our help, and then we'll be there for you.
Yep, 100% agree. I mean, we talk about the high school program and how it's your program. It's the players program. Do I get a joy out of it? Yeah. Does Melissa? Yeah, absolutely. The coaches love doing it, but it's all about you guys. I mean, we want you to have special memories, and work hard and learn important things and become terrific, young women in society. So it's all about you. And this is just an extension of that. We are here to help support you. If you want to pursue something along these lines, we'll do whatever we can to help make that happen. But, it's up to you. We're not sitting here saying, you have to be a Division I athlete and go play a blah, blah, blah school. If that's what you want to do, we'll support you. But, Melissa showed that spectrum at the start. If you're anywhere on that spectrum, which I agree with Melissa, all of you can be somewhere on that spectrum, obviously, we'll support you in whatever makes sense for you so that you are having fun and you are enjoying it. So you just got to let us know. So I just want to thank our 4 experts for sharing information. I really appreciate that. All the questions you guys had to chime in and comments were really helpful. As I said, we're recording this. We'll post it if you want to look at it again for whatever reason. But we have a lot of resources, emails, highlight films, whatever. We're going to find a repository where we can post those so you can see them. Obviously, club teams have information along those lines as well. If you're on a club team, you can take advantage of that stuff. We just want to, do whatever we can to help support you through the high school process and then whatever you're interested in beyond. So thanks again. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys all taking time out of your busy schedules, and we'll do more stuff in the future to help support this cause. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, girls.
Steve, I'm going to stay on if you want to chat.